To say Jesus died on a cross, or that Jesus was that God was a little baby, or that God died on a cross, or God was a little baby, this is a heresy. And to say that Jesus was God, full stop, is also a heresy. A lot of Christians don't realize this.
The Quran says that the heavens were almost rent asunder, that the mountains were almost obliterated, that the earth almost shook at the idea that we would say that God had a son.
In the Quran it says that on the Day of Judgment, God will actually ask Jesus Christ,
did you tell the people that you were God?
And Jesus says,
you know what I said, you see everything I say and do.
I would never say that. Glory to you, transcendent are you. I would never say that. I have no right to say that.
Zachariah King is a poet who runs an Islamic bookstall on Edgware Road.
Priest in confession weep out through each town, almond sweet ground. This land will never suffer love again until my beautiful motley Maria is refound.
His understanding of Jesus in the Quran influenced him to reject the Jesus of Christianity.
Why aren't you Muslim?
Why aren't I? I'm a Jew.
You're a Jew? Oh, I was previously Christian.
Ya Allah. Allah. Once I started to learn about Islam and realising that Jesus prayed, Jesus ate, Jesus went to the toilet, Jesus was born, Jesus had companions, all of these things, that he went through pain, that he went through anguish, that he beseeched his Lord. These things are not befitting for me of God and therefore the Son of God.
For Christians to believe that Jesus was God in human form is absolutely fundamental, because it means that God understands us. God isn't some distant deity living in the glory of heaven. He can understand what it's like to be in pain, to be betrayed, to be hurt, to be bruised, to be bullied. God understands our situation.
If Jesus was God, then who was supporting the world while he was supposed to be dead? Or if he was God, then who was he praying to?
Free books! What doesn't work is that God has family. I can't believe that Mary can give birth to God. For God to be God, he has to be the creator and not become part of creation.
Both Muslims and Christians believe that Jesus will return to earth to restore justice to the world. They also believe that before he returns, an evil person or system called the Antichrist will have gained influence over the planet.
The story of the Antichrist, I think, should be made a film. The Islamic version of the Antichrist, not the other one.
He's called the Antichrist, or the false Christ, because he stands for everything which goes against Jesus Christ's message. So instead of love and mercy, the Antichrist stands for hatred and war. Instead of being devoted to God and renouncing the world, the Antichrist stands for greed and exploiting the world and exploiting power, etc.
In Islamic tradition, the Antichrist is called Dajjal.
And Dajjal really means the imposter, the liar, the deceiver.
Now, if you look at the word Dajjal, which means Antichrist in Arabic, the root word is to put pitch or tar over a mangy camel. And what happens when you do that is the mange goes away. It suppresses it, like putting cortisone on eczema. And then you sell the camel because it looks good, and so the person buys it thinking it's a healthy camel, and then a week later the mange reemerges.
In the Bible, the book of Revelation says there'll come a time when no one will be able to buy or sell without the mark of the Antichrist.
666, the mark of the beast.
The main understanding of Muslim Antichrist prophecies is of an actual person. Vivid descriptions of his appearance and abilities can be found in the Hadith, the collected sayings of the Prophet Muhammad.
The Prophet Muhammad said, every prophet has warned his people about the Dajjal, about the Antichrist, but he said, I will tell you something which none of the other prophets told their people, and that is that he has one eye.
one eye.
One-eyed.
One eye.
One eye which will be damaged.
There will come a person who would rule using brute force, tyranny, who would disbelieve openly, who would kill, maim, and destroy anything and everything.
He's the pitch man. He's the one who's like pitching you this, buy this product, the 7 deadly sins: lust, greed, pride, gluttony. Right? You're really going to enjoy these. You're going to have a good time.
He will do things that are beyond the ability of anyone.
For example, by cutting a man in two, it says.
Right down the middle.
Then bringing him back to life.
I mean, after you witness such an event, it would be very difficult not to believe in such a person.
Christ says, go and sin no more. You're forgiven. The Antichrist says, there's no sins to forgive. Go do whatever you want.
Both Muslims and Christians agree that Jesus will return to defeat the Antichrist. But whereas the Bible uses metaphorical language to describe the event, Islamic tradition gives a blow-by-blow account of exactly what will happen when Jesus comes back. Abdul Rahim Green is in charge of schools' tours at Regent's Park Mosque. As a young man, he rejected the Christian Jesus for the Jesus of Islam.
I've always, had this, and still do have this great love and affection for Jesus. There's nothing that affects me quite as much as when I hear the Quran being recited.
He's also a popular speaker at Islamic events and has been booked to tell the Muslim version of the second coming of Jesus.
This is the time when Jesus, the son of Mary, Isa ibn Maryam, he will descend. Now Isa...
Carmen Schultz and Valerie Streit are two Christians who've come to find out more about the second coming of Jesus in Islam.
In my faith as a Christian, obviously Jesus comes back, and I would like to see what are the similarities, what are the differences in the understanding.
Well, I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord.
In contrast to the Bible, in Islamic tradition, the second coming of Jesus is narrated in vivid detail.
Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall and the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah.
The basic scenario that's given is the world becomes filled with an immense amount of oppression and injustice, and Christ returns in an eastern part of Damascus.
His hands will be resting on the shoulders of 2 angels. And his hair will be as if it is dripping with oil. And when he shakes his head, the beads will be like, the beads of the oil will be like pearls.
Some of the details were different too, with the whole idea of the oil, and I thought it was interesting. I mean, I'd never heard of that before.
Hallelujah! Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
So he will actually pray behind the Muslim Imam, who is regarded as being the Caliph at the time, and then he will take part with that leader in the battles against the Antichrist.
He will destroy the cross and kill the pig.
By him coming back, destroying the crosses, and saying, no one can receive worship but Allah, that's really making a point that, all the things that Christians have said about Jesus in the past, they're wrong. And so it kind of felt like very strong.
The moment Ad-Dajjal sees Isa ibn Maryam, Jesus the son of Mary, he will begin to dissolve.